I've been sitting here for like the last hour trying to write an essay on this one single idea in Lord of the Rings about the isolation that Sam experiences when he goes to Mordor and he thinks that Frodo's dead. And it's a really, really interesting moment in the book, but I feel like I don't have the words for it because this is a really complex idea and I don't have like the in-depth knowledge of this, but also it's a really simple idea. So I feel like my thesis is just really simple for this one. That pain tends to isolate, and sometimes the pain that we experience makes us feel things that aren't really true. And I think all of us know that for sure. But there's a moment with Sam where he's walking into Mordor and he thinks that Frodo is dead, and he experiences this really paradoxical situation. And it's a really applicable and it's a situation I think we all resonate with. This is what the book says. He wondered what the time was. Somewhere between one day and the next, he supposed. But even of the days he had quite lost count. He was in a land of darkness, where the days of the world seemed forgotten, and where all who entered were forgotten too. I wonder if they think of us at all, he said, and what is happening to them all the way there. He waved his hand vaguely in the air before him. But he was in fact now facing southward, as he came back to Shelob's tunnel, not west. Out westward in the world it was drawing to noon upon the 14th day of March in the Shire reckoning. And even now Aragorn was leading the Black Fleet from Pelargir, and Merry was riding with the Rohirrim down the Stone Wain Valley, while in Minas Tirith flames were rising, and Pippin watched the madness growing in the eyes of Denethor. Yet amid all their cares and fears, the thoughts of their friends turned constantly to Frodo and Sam. They were not forgotten, but they were far beyond aid, and no thought could yet bring any help to Samwise Hamfast's son. He was utterly alone. And so there's the paradox right there, that Sam feels utterly alone. In reality, he is utterly alone. But he feels another thing, which he feels forgotten. He feels like no one really remembers him, which that is the furthest thing from true. Because Pippin, Merry, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, all these people are doing what they are doing for Frodo and Sam. And not only that, in the midst of what they're doing, in the midst of Denethor going mad, in the midst of Merry riding with the Rohirrim into the Pelennor fields, they are all constantly thinking of Frodo and Sam. Their thoughts are turned always to Frodo and Sam. And so it's this weird idea that as Sam is ascending into this land of Mordor, where, yes, the physical land itself causes you to kind of forget. It's an interesting idea, too, and I was trying to write about this. But the idea that for Tolkien, it seems like the idea of hell is almost the idea of forgetting, and the idea of being kind of like isolated, further and further isolated from other people and from this community or this fellowship that you have. And I think it's interesting for Tolkien to think that, and for Sam, as he's descending into Mordor, where he's feeling that more and more and more, for him to feel this experience where he feels alone, and yes, he is in reality kind of alone, but at the same point, the feelings don't match the reality of what other people really think of him. Because yes, he is alone, but at the same point, he is being thought of all around Middle-earth. And I think this is a thing that we have to understand and know in our own pain and our own distress as well. That we feel isolated and we feel alone and we feel like no one really understands or can really listen to us, or no one's really thinking of us in our pain. But in our pain, I think those are the moments when people think about us the most. I know the difficult times that I've had in my life where I felt the most isolated because of something that I've been going through. I know for sure that my family, that my friends, those are the moments where they're thinking about me and they're worrying about me, and they really care for me in those moments. And I think the same is true for all of us. In those moments of pain that we have a tendency to isolate and draw away from others. But I think Tolkien is kind of trying to communicate the importance of memory. And not only memory, but if we can, communicating that memory to other people that are going through pain. So I use this as like a challenge, that if you know someone who's going through pain right now, shoot them a text, give them a call, go out, for a meal with them. Because it is that idea that draws people to each other and helps alleviate this pain that we experience. It's the idea of not forgetting. It's the idea of remembrance that really helps people endure pain. And I think Tolkien was trying to get at that. And I think it's even something that he was trying to get at even with the idea of POWs, MIA, or people who were in the war and, they might have just died, and one of their biggest fears was just being forgotten. I mean, everyone wants to leave a legacy, but really everyone has this desire to not be forgotten. It's like the whole movie of the the Pixar or the whole plot of the movie of Coco. Like, this one person doesn't want to be forgotten by his family because that is so important. And I think all of us have that desire to be remembered by those we love when we die. But I think Tolkien is really trying to hammer at this idea that even though we might feel like we're lost, and even though we might feel like we're being forgotten, there are still people out there who remember us. And I think it's important that we, as people who are remembering others in pain, reach out to those people and provide them a lifeline of saying, I remember you and I see you in your pain, and I am here for you through whatever pain that you're experiencing. I remember you. You are not forgotten. I think that's one of the most powerful things that we can do. So this video was less of like, let me analyze the text of Lord of the Rings, and let me just kind of like talk about how I think this line is just really meaningful. And I think it's a really interesting line, and it's something that I really resonated with that Sam was experiencing. So that's kind of all I got for you today. I was going to end with my typical ending, but rather than that, I have to end with Sam's song that he sings, because that is just one of the most beautiful things that I have heard in the face of the earth, but I haven't memorized it yet. But it says, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just doing the last 4 lines. Above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell. So good. So good. Well, I'll see you guys in the next one.